Hello there, and welcome to the Fish Tank Barn. Over the past few months, I've added quite a few new fish to the barn via the various auctions and swaps that were held last fall. I've also had some pretty unexpected fish come into the fish barn, including my holy grail fish, which I'll introduce you to at the end. So let's go ahead and dive into the barn and check everything out. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Xenotoca Eisenai from Rio Compostela. These fish have seemed to settle in quite nicely since I purchased them at the Motor City Aquarium Society auction back in November. The plants in this tank have really taken off as well, especially the guppy grass. While I'm not expecting any fry for a while, I am pretty excited to see these fish grow out, and maybe over the summer I'll put them in some tubs to see if we can get some fry. Definitely a fish I'm looking forward to see grow up and see how it turns out. So these Pseudochronabolus nicolsi have really grown on me since I purchased them a couple months ago. When they first got into the aquarium, they were a little bit drab, but once they settled in, they've really started to color up. I really enjoy the orange face, blue lips, and stunning back markings of this fish. It's definitely one that's grown on me quite a bit since it's been in the fish barn. I've not seen any fry yet or seen any holding females, but hopefully I can see some in the near future. This tank is a little bit mulmy, but hopefully as the plants grow in, this tank will take shape and start to look a little bit better. While this isn't a typical fish that I work with here in the fish barn, I'm pretty excited to have this fish and pretty excited to work with it. Hopefully at some point here in the near future, we can see some holding females from this beautiful fish and have some fry. So let's go ahead and check out these Calachromis microps, which have kind of turned to be one of my favorites here in the fish room. I picked these fish up at the Southwest Michigan Aquarium Society auction. I really think these are a lot of fun. I just really enjoy their movement as they dart around the tank. I did have these in a 40 breeder, but I did think they would be better in a 75. You can see that the male has kind of the darker red markings, while the females are just kind of a grayish color. These are really active fish and just dart around the tank all day long. They're really quite a bit of fun. These are mouth brooding cichlids, but I've yet to see any holding females. Hopefully with a little bit more time to settle in, we'll see some more holding females, and hopefully we can get some fry. So now I want to move you over here and take a look at the first new fish in the aquarium, and that's these star sapphire cichlids. This is my big 245 gallon show tank, and this was really looking quite paltry with just a small group of yellow labs. I really think it needed a boost. So I went ahead and added these star sapphire cichlids to really add some blue color to this tank and add some more movement. I was able to pick up both a breeding group of a large male and 3 females, as well as a large group of fry. With the large amount of space and few fish, I'm really hoping this tank will grow up into kind of a nice showpiece African cichlid tank with a nice contrast of blue and yellow. So let's go ahead and head upstairs now and talk about what's become one of my favorite guppy species, and that's these Stan Schubel Blues that I picked up from Eric Bodrock. These fish have been pretty prolific since I've had them in the fish room, producing a ton of little baby guppies. These have proven to be pretty good parents, and they've not been eating the fry. I also added some creeping moss to this tank that I picked up at one of my local fish club meetings. To round out this tank, I do want to talk about the tangerine tiger shrimp that I added as well. I have seen some buried females, but I've yet to see some fry. I am pretty interested to see how these shrimp will do, since having a pH of 8 is not ideal for Caridina shrimp. I did source these locally though, so I'm pretty optimistic that I can get some babies from them. I want to show you now another new fish, and that's these Micropicilia picta that I picked up from Dan's Fish. Also known as the swamp guppy, these fish have a really nice red pigment to them that I really enjoy. I had these fish a long time ago, but wasn't really successful with them. I'm hoping for a different outcome here, but I have heard that these fish do require a little bit of salt in their water, so I'm running them in fresh water now to see if they'll reproduce. Since these fish came from Dan, I'm assuming they came from a freshwater source, so I'm cautiously optimistic. If needed though, I will add salt to the aquarium if required. I'll go ahead and keep you posted on the results. But as you can see, these fish have settled in nicely to their new 15-gallon tank. Since coming into the fish room in October, these double-sword guppies have done quite well and as you can see, they've started to produce fry. I've added them to one of my typical 20-gallon tanks here in the fish barn, which is primarily planted with crypts, which helps provide cover for the fry. I was originally going to resell these fish, but I think I'm going to keep them a while and see what sort of colony I can get going with all the new fry. The next fish I'd like to show you has a little bit of a story to it. The brother of one of my daughter's friends has been on and off with fish keeping for a little while now. During volleyball season, he asked if he could come over to see the fish barn, and I promised he could come see it once the season was over. After visiting the fish barn, he said that he had a Mangiano cichlid living in a small fish tank. So I offered him a trade, and he gave me the Mangiano, and I gave him some Endlers, guppy grass, and cherry shrimp in exchange. Since I had one, I figured I would try to breed them, so I went to my local fish store and bought 4 additional fish. I put the entire group in a 20-gallon tank, and so far, everything's going okay. I have noticed they are not messing with the crypts, which is something that's a plus. While keeping this fish wasn't exactly in my plans, I'm excited to see if I can get them breeding and submit this fish for BAP points at my local club. I now want to introduce you to my holy grail fish, the Cracodon Audax from Los Pinos. Many of you are aware of the Black Prince Goodeid, which is the Cracodon Audax from El Toboso. What I like about this specific location, and what makes it my dream fish, is the red markings that the males possess on their dorsal, anal, and tail fins. While mine are not totally red, I have seen some males that are all red on all 3 fins. These are a pretty hard fish to find, so I do want to tell you the story of how I found them. I actually found them through the American Livebearer Association Species Conservation Award Program, or SCAP. If you're not aware of what the SCAP program is, it's basically a conservation program to conserve live bearers in the hobby. To participate in the program, I filled out a survey of all the live bearers that I'm keeping in the fish barn, and then submitted it to the program. After I submitted the form, I was offered these fish as part of the program. I had to pay the shipping, but they sent me 2 trios via UPS next day air. If you are interested in the conservation of live bearers, I'll go ahead and put a link to the SCAP program in the description of this video. One thing I'd like to tell you though, is you do need to be a member of the ALA to participate. I decided to split up my 2 trios in 2 separate tanks as an insurance policy in case something happened. Needless to say, I am pretty excited to have this fish in my fish room, and will definitely work to get some fry here in the near future. I hope that you enjoyed the updates of some of my recent additions here to the fish barn, as well as taking a look at some pretty exciting new additions as well. Obviously, I'm really excited about my new Cracodon Audax from Los Pinos. That's a fish I've been wanting for quite a long time. At the end of the video, I'll go ahead and put up a playlist of all my Livebearer care guides, as well as my latest full fish room tour. So with that, thank you for watching, stay safe, stay fishy, and I'll catch you on the next video.